This is an I Dream of Words short. Today we're going to be talking about an English idiom, barking up the wrong tree. When you're barking up the wrong tree, you're looking for answers in the wrong place. You don't just have the wrong answer, you're not even close. It's often said to tell someone to look somewhere else, especially if, in reality, they're very nearly at the answer and the speaker doesn't want them to find it. Let's look at an example. I heard you were on a first date last night. Where'd you hear that? Jessie told me over breakfast. You shouldn't believe everything you hear with your coffee. So who was it? Carla? Lisa? You've been nervous around them both lately. You're barking up the wrong tree. If you say so. In this example, A is asking B about their new dating partner from the night before. It's obvious B doesn't want to talk about it, but A is persistent. A is probably right about who B was out with, and B wants to keep it a secret and tells A they're barking up the wrong tree, that they're far from the right answer. A doesn't believe it. There are two places this could have developed. One about dogs, the other about trees themselves. As always, this has little to do with the real reason the idiom came into being, though one of these is likely it. These explanations are more about remembering the story of the idiom than its history. In the first option, we need to look at animal sounds. We've been over this before, but let's review English noises for animals, however silly and inappropriate they are. A cow says moo, a pig says oink, a chicken says cluck or buck, a frog says ribbit, a dog says woof, and a cat says meow or mew. A lion roars, a horse whinnies, a dog barks, and a cat purrs. If you've actually encountered some of those animals at any point in your life, you have certainly discovered that none of those noises is even close. So they need to be memorized rather than deduced. For a dog, it says woof, but is described as barking. In comic books, this noise is often written as arf, which might be the closest description of the actual noise of most dogs. That aside, the fact that the dog is barking is fairly significant. A barking dog is trying to communicate something. They're not just excited, they want to say something. If a dog is barking next to a tree, idiomatically up a tree, though this is grammatically awkward in modern English, it means there's something hiding in the tree. A secret, metaphorically speaking, that is there to be found and very near. If a bird hides in a tree, the dog may stand at the bottom of the trunk and bark at it, even if others can't see the bird. The dog likely smells it and knows there's something hidden there. If there's nothing, though, the dog is literally barking up the wrong tree. There's nothing to see, nothing to find. The dog is wasting their time and everyone else's by encouraging them to look in the tree for something interesting. The other explanation is less obvious but just as memorable. There are many parts of a tree: trunk, roots, branches, leaves, and bark, to name only a few. The bark is the outside coating, the part that is developed over time. A very young tree doesn't really have it yet, just a thin coating. As the tree goes through weeks and months of development, though, it gets a bark. As years go by, the bark becomes thicker. It is protective. That's the whole point. Keeps predators from eating it, keeps moisture in, makes it easier to climb without doing damage to the softer inner section of the growing, living tree. But it takes effort to create that bark. If the tree is unhealthy, its bark will become dehydrated and fall off. If you've ever seen a piece of chopped wood with bark on it, you'll know that while wood is hard and difficult to break, the bark will peel off if you apply only a little pressure. So if the tree has something valuable to hide, like healthy growth and moisture for a tree, or, metaphorically, a secret to be found, it protects it with bark. So when the tree is barking, creating a thick, healthy bark layer, it is protecting itself and its inner parts. If there's no healthy tree, you could say that nature is barking up the wrong tree, spending precious resources of water and sugar to protect a life that isn't worth it. Sometimes this idiom is slightly different, but has the same meaning. You'll hear it as barking at the wrong tree, which is much more grammatically correct in modern English, or climbing up the wrong tree, which is a more human-focused version, eliminating the need for loud canines. You may even hear a more generalized version, walking through the wrong forest, or digging under the wrong tree. Whichever way it shows up, though, it's always the same idea. So when you're trying to find out the truth about something, learn an answer that's hidden. You'll know how to describe your search in terms of trees, dogs, and secret-hiding bark. Thanks for taking the time to join me here today for an I Dream of Words short. See you next time.